Okay, well, I think we're ready to go with our next session. So thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm here pleased to be joined by Erin O'Brien from the Department of Finance. And this is meant to be a bit of a fireside chat, but as you all know, we recently had the federal budget, and then soon after that, the Budget Implementation Act. So to start off, I'm going to give Erin the floor. Lots of interesting things in the budget and the act around payments and things that we've all been watching for a long time. So over to Erin first to just let us have an overview or let us have your thoughts on all those things, and then we'll get into some Q&A. And if you have Q&A, please submit them and I'll put them to Erin.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Bonnie. Hello, everyone. Nice to be with you. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Erin O'Brien. I'm the Director General of Financial Services at the Department of Finance. I guess maybe just to give you a quick synopsis of some of my responsibilities. I, within my portfolio, am responsible for payments policy, and you'll hear about all the fabulous things we're doing in that space momentarily. Financial innovation is another team that reports to me. Right now, their key project is open banking, and so many of you have heard about that. I'll give you a quick update on that as well. Financial consumer affairs reports to me, and then I have a team of special projects. And at the moment, that special project is the Canada Emergency Business Account and some other COVID response programming. And even that has a relation to payments in terms of some of the work we were doing about a year ago with the banks and Payments Canada to promote direct deposit. And I know that that's of interest to many of your members, so happy to take questions on that. I thought I'd just provide a quick summary in terms of some of the key projects we have underway, particularly in terms of payments and the payments modernization initiatives. Now, I love these issues, and I can talk about them all day long. So, Bonnie, if I really start, getting into it too far, just grab the hook, give me a signal, because I'm definitely interested in the questions that your members have. So maybe I'll just jump into it. I thought I'd start with, and you had made reference to the budget. So very excited that the budget included the announcement of the retail payments oversight framework. This is something we have been working on for a number of years and have been trying to table legislation for a little while now. So we certainly saw that as a tremendous victory, and that's included in the Budget Implementation Act. For people's knowledge, for years we've been referring to it as the payments or the Retail Payments Oversight Framework, RPOF. But you will notice in the Act, it is actually called the Retail Payments Activities Act. So that's the formal name of the legislation, which implements the Retail Payments Oversight Framework. So it's the same thing, just two different names. So far, I've been spending a fair bit of time with parliamentary and Senate committees. We've passed clause by clause, so we're looking forward to hopefully the successful passage of the legislation, say by the end of this month. The RPAA includes two important elements. So one will require that payment service providers, first register with the Bank of Canada, so they'll be the responsible regulator. And then they will be required to safeguard client funds. So in essence, cannot commingle client funds with corporate operating funds. The client funds will have to be held either in a trust account or have an insurance product or something that would ensure that the client funds are held safely and would be available to clients, in the unfortunate circumstance of a failure. The second requirement will be that PSPs have operational risk management strategies in place, and the Bank of Canada will be evaluating those. As well, so I guess maybe I should have said three things. There's a national securities evaluation as well. And that is very much in line with requirements that currently exist in the Bank Act, and for which financial institutions are subject. So with the RPAA, fingers crossed with the successful passage, we will be working very hard to draft and develop necessary regulations to stand up the framework. So there's still a fair bit of work ahead. We believe that we'll be able to complete this work, sort of say within 2 years. We will be consulting every step of the way, and so certainly look forward to engaging with your organization and members as well as that important work moves forward. With that legislation in place, and now I'll transition to more the payments modernization agenda. But with the RPAA in place, this now will allow us to advance our work in terms of looking at membership within Payments Canada, and with membership renewal, looking to broaden access to Payments Canada. So in essence, giving PSPs or allowing PSPs to become members within Payments Canada, and with that, access to Payment Canada's core infrastructure. So fundamental change. I think that holds the possibility of fundamentally changing the competitive dynamics in the marketplace. So we will be doing that with great care, but we do look forward to the benefits of opening that space to greater competition and innovation. Payments Canada is advancing two key pieces of infrastructure. So this summer, we'll be replacing the current large value transfer system with a new links system. So that should be in place at the end of August. You can imagine we're working very closely with the Bank of Canada in terms of the transition and implementation of that critical infrastructure. Work continues to advance as well in terms of the development and implementation of the new real-time rail. That holds a lot of potential and interest in terms of competition and innovation in the space of retail payments. And so we are working with Payments Canada, driving forward to have that in place September of 2022. So a lot of moving pieces, but as I say, it's a really dynamic and interesting area these days. Maybe I'll just make reference to kind of what we're doing in the credit card space generally, and a couple of quick words just on open banking. So within credit cards, I'm sure many of you have noted the commitment in the budget to further reduce interchange rates in Canada. So that came with, it was like a three-part commitment. So one, to reduce the overall rates. Two, to make sure that small and medium-sized businesses benefit from those rate reductions. And three, that loyalty points remain whole in terms of finding a solution. I don't actually have much more I can share with you on that commitment at this time. We are working with the minister to refine the commitment and the approach. We will be consulting, hopefully soon, to ensure that we have the most up-to-date data and market developments. Seeking views in terms of how we can kind of meet this this trifecta of objectives. So stay tuned. We'll be coming out soon on that. In addition, we're updating the code of conduct for the debit and credit card industry. The team launched that project, I guess, just last fall, and has been working with an advisory committee. They've had several meetings. They will be developing proposals over the course of the fall, and we're hoping that the plan would be to have a renewed code potentially launched next fall. So some interesting work going on that front. Our intention is not to completely overhaul the code, more along the lines of making tweaks and changes just to ensure that it remains relevant given the dynamics in the marketplace. And then maybe just a final word in terms of open banking. So this has been another area of active policy development. We were very pleased to be supporting a ministerial advisory committee on open banking. So for kind of prominent Canadians who have been stick handling this project going forward. We had excellent consultations last winter, kind of through December. The committee did write their final recommendations and report. They did submit it to the minister. It was right before the budget. And so the report is currently with the minister. We are looking forward to her making that public, pardon me, making the report public as soon as possible. We are strongly supportive of that. And we are working as well with the minister and her staff in terms of next steps, and really look forward to driving that issue forward. I'm happy to provide other elements in terms of broad strokes of what the committee is suggesting, if that's of interest. But maybe I'll just end it there, and I'm happy to take this in whatever direction is of interest to you and your members.
Sure, thank you for that. It's just so interesting always to hear from you and to hear the department's perspective and to get a bit of an overview like that. So I do have some questions, and then if any come in from the audience, I'll add those as well. But let's just start at the end with open banking, and then I might kind of jump all over the place. But it is interesting. I mean, we don't know what's in the report. We are all excited to see it. I mean, maybe some of this is in the report, but this is a bit of I don't know what the answer to this is, but like, what is the biggest roadblock? What is happening? And is there anything the industry can do to really keep, advancing this, supporting innovation? Any advice in that way?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I can only imagine what it's like to look in from the outside and just think, like, what is going on? So a couple of things. One, it's just been an extremely busy time. And, we now have a finance minister who has a dual role as, the deputy prime minister. The volume of work and issues going through her office is unbelievable. And so I really think it kind of comes down to just that. There's a commitment, like within the the department, at the highest level, including our incoming Deputy Michael Sabia, who strong supporters of innovation in competition, and we see what has taken place in terms of the market with the digitalization of payments. And so we want to ensure that our country is well positioned to capitalize on these important changes. So as I say, we've been, we certainly support releasing the report as soon as possible, and we're hopeful that will happen. In terms of what you can do, I'm aware that there's been a lot of outreach to the minister's office. I think that's tremendously helpful. It's good for them to know that there are a wide variety of stakeholders who care very much about this issue, want to continue the momentum that I think we had built up through the course of the consultations, and to keep this going. So I appreciate the outreach that has been done. I also note some of the recent press articles to this effect as well, and so we'll see. It's definitely on the agenda. There is awareness. We just kind of have to shake this one out of the tree.
Yeah, fair enough. And you see it in all across various contexts, like how busy the minister has been and the department. It's been an extraordinary time, of course. So, like, going to that generally, and just sort of COVID and what's been going on over the last couple of years. We had a panel earlier that focused on sort of digital payments and the move to digital and the evolution. So what are your reflections on this, on COVID-19, and from the department's perspective on maybe the future of digital payments, the role of fintech, and one theme that's come out this morning is that prepaid, it isn't really just a product. It's broader than that. It's a platform, it's an alternative. It's just part of the fintech, evolution. So how do you see that from your perspective?
Yeah, so that's a big question. I think probably like many, we've witnessed in absolutely unbelievable transformation over the past year, 16 months. Many have said that we've kind of leapfrogged ahead, say 10 years in terms of innovation in digital payments, and that, So on the one hand, the pandemic has been tragic in many ways, but this has been, I think, a silver lining, and we need to capitalize on these changes. Like there's no going back. Like we're not going to go back to start, issuing checks again, for instance. So like, let's just keep pushing forward. And I think the timing is ripe as well, in terms of Payments Canada, overhauling its the core, national payments infrastructure. We finally will have a more modern legislative framework in place. Still work in progress, but it's a great start. So I characterize it as necessary, but perhaps not sufficient. And so we will continue to push that forward. So it's kind of like we're now in the age of payments, and prepaid is certainly an important element of that. You've mentioned it is another platform. I did read your submission with interest just the other day as I was preparing for this, and I think it's another platform that should be part of the mix, and to date, particularly in terms of government payments, right? Like we've been so plain vanilla, so to speak, checks, even moving to direct deposit, which I was directly involved with, probably about this time last year. That was extremely helpful. We managed to get emergency response payments into the hands of Canadians quickly and safely. But on the other hand, like, it's a direct deposit. Like, that's not, we're not changing the world. And there are other innovative ways of doing it. I think the challenge at the time was we, and sort of the royal we, in this sense, in terms of government, just given the speed at which, we were needing to respond to the crisis, we just didn't have the capacity or the bandwidth to really kind of think of something, that was really new, that we needed to think through. Like, it was just like, okay, like, we could make direct deposit work, with the institutions. But now I think it would be, presents a great opportunity for you and your members to ensure that government has greater awareness of the product offering that you have. So not really.
And you're referring right to the submission the CPPO made to the Receiver General, request for information around alternative payments, right?
Yes, I believe so. I'd have to find the cover.
Everyone, yeah.
That was, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So the CPPO did a lot of work last year with CRA and with finance, and to just say, prepaid's a great option to have in the toolkit for that very circumstance. And so now we positioned ourselves as, let's get it in the toolkit, let's make sure everyone understands it. And there was that request for information around alternative payments. So it's good to hear, I guess, that there's openness, on the side of the government to consider those things, to learn about them. And a big mandate of the CPPO has been education. So am I hearing, I think it's fair to say that prepaid specifically wasn't necessarily on the radar at finance or at government of, exactly how it was evolving and the various use cases and, how prevalent it's becoming. So are you also open to us kind of continuing that mandate, and we'll just continue dialogue and, figure out other use cases and how this is going? Like, it sounds like that's, we should keep going down that
absolutely.
path. Yeah,
absolutely. And, I certainly appreciate meeting with you, and, you should definitely be outreaching. My senior director is Julie Trepanier. But it just makes me think, so the role of the Department of Finance, so we're responsible for the policy framework. And so that's, notably the legislative framework and, how all the system is working and the regulators. And so, we kind of look at it from a holistic but kind of 10,000 foot view. In terms of the operations and, actually issuing government payments, so that responsibility rests predominantly with the Receiver General. And so, yeah, you should absolutely get in and make sure you're on their radar. But CRA is also, another government agency that makes, significant payments. And so great to reach out to them, probably ESDC and others as well. And so, I think your awareness, campaign is really helpful, and because good for us to, start positioning, for the future. And as the core infrastructure is changing and modernizing, the government, we recognize that we need to modernize as well. I think the crisis really kind of put that into focus for us in many ways. I'd mentioned getting benefits into the hands of Canadians, but even making international payments so we could buy PPE material was it just sort of presented different challenges.
Mm. Well, and I think that's useful to hear as well for our members and others listening in terms of how to direct their own efforts, GR efforts or whatever, and understanding how, operationally we can try to make inroads with prepaid. And just a question has come in from the audience. It's an interesting one. I don't know how much you can say, but to your knowledge, have there been any substantial lobbying efforts against open banking that you can share?
Against open banking? No,
Okay.
Sorry, that is a good
strong,
question.
there's not a big.
No, I think it sort of depends, what against open banking is. Like, I certainly haven't heard, and, nor am I aware of anybody who's come in to say, we've got to put an end to this. There are different perspectives clearly across the ecosystem in terms of, where to place emphasis, how far, how fast, what are the risks that an open banking system, might present. So these are all, legitimate questions and things that we need to consider in terms of our policy analysis. But the ecosystem has to come to terms with as well. I think we explored a number of those issues in the consultation we had in the fall or winter, I guess. And I have to say, like, I was actually really surprised by the nature of that debate. Like, it was a good conversation, and people would agree to disagree, but issues were registered, and so that's what we need to do going forward, with a view to how are we going to implement the system. And so the advisory committee has outlined a vision in their report. I'm not giving away, I think, secrets, as some of the committee members have shared kind of the views, but they put forward some very practical recommendations, focusing on some short-term deliverables and what can we be doing, I'll say collectively. So government, working with the industry to move forward on key elements, including technical standards and common rules, and accreditation kind of governance systems. So these were all key themes in the consultation. So we're certainly looking forward to pushing that forward in the coming months.
Thank you. Yeah, this is something that we're definitely all anxious, I think, to just see. So we're anxious to get that report for sure. So thanks for that. And I think we're at time, actually, which it goes incredibly quickly. So I think we'll have to call it there. So thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. As I said, I always find it so useful, and I'm sure everyone listening does as well. And I think there's a break right now, but so hopefully everybody will come back shortly.
Well, thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, take care.